when we look at the Nasdaq and we look at the market in general, this is something that you have to be paying attention to, right? This is a little bit of a level that we were watching yesterday. Now, if I come back out here to like the daily, you can really see what's happening here. Essentially, this little bit of a low that you established yesterday, you're mounting above that. You go back to the 4 hour and you can see we are just holding that level. Now, what this tells me is that with the market right now, with the stock market, you saw sellers have an opportunity to push you down, okay? And this whole level right here from these lows all the way down to basically 17.2, this whole level is illiquid, right? I can drag this out and you can see very minimal. There's no liquidity. So if you drop below this level, which I would argue not that major of a support, but still, if you drop below that level, you're dropping very quick. We have now established this into a support because of the way that we acted here. And you can see this is now the POC. So when we look at this action and we look at what happened here in the after hours, it has to get you excited. Because in the after hours, if you don't know, Netflix just reported earnings and these guys are exploding to the upside. We're currently sitting at 532. Now this is going to roll over hopefully into the SPY and to QQQ. But again, you look here at, SPY, and again, it's very important that we look at what, what's happening here. This is Friday's highs. Well, what happens from Friday's highs? Right there. You're mounting that level 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 4 hour chart. Go to the 15-minute. We talked about this yesterday. You're just consolidating above highs. This is very well the definition of a bull trend, the definition of a bullish chart if you've ever had one. SPY in the after hours are back at all-time highs. Now, number one, I want to welcome you back to the fold, dare I say. We're killing it in the market, and I'm going to give you as many juicy setups as I see fit. Today on Twitter, I posted out, there's a new head honcho at the top of my list, top of the stocks, and I'm going to give it to you right now. Now, stock, options, whatever you want to do with it, that's your business. But right now, head honcho, not even going to make you wait, okay? Meta has reached the top of the list. A close second is Amazon, okay? Amazon, Meta, keep your eye out. I'm telling you right now, though, Meta could absolutely erupt over the next few days. It's at like 385 right now. We'll talk about it here in a second. Also, too, consider liking and subscribing because I'm giving you the free game every single day. Back to work. Now, again, I really want to harp on this right now before we go any further. This, again, was your Friday high. Anytime you see this type of behavior where you're just mounting previous highs over and over and over, that is the definition of bullish behavior. Now, you usually don't see it on smaller time frames, but you have seen it on SPY and Nasdaq over the past few months, right? High here, you mount, you push up. High here, you mount, you push up. Again, high here, you mount it again, you pushed up. It just goes on and on. High here, you mount, push up. Again, you'll see this play out time and time again, and sometimes it's easier to see with futures. Now, also to with futures, the Nasdaq, we saw this pennant. Again, if you're not following on Twitter, the links are down below, so make sure you tap in. Again, we've been talking about the pennant break that you were getting here, going all the way back to January 18th, right? The breakout that was happening, right? And now you're sitting damn near, 600 points above that, getting ready to explode even further. So right now, what are you looking for on Nasdaq? I mean, honestly, this has to be the shortest point of the video because it's really simple. You just want to see a break above this level, retest, and a push back up. And we very well could start to see that tonight. So what I expect here after this video, during this video, whenever you're watching it, I want to see more buyers step into the market, and I would like to see overnight maybe get a retest and then the reaction from open. It's important. We do have Tesla earnings coming out tomorrow, so we do have a little bit more data we have to track there. Also, okay, now the dollar, you've seen the dollar continue to try to move up, and everyone's saying, oh, the dollar is strong, the dollar is strong. Again, I'm not really concerned about the dollar or yields unless they start to get rejected to the downside. The only thing that I'm interested in with the dollar and yields, listen closely, okay? FOMC next Wednesday. Until then, guess what? Tyler doesn't care. Say with me, Tyler doesn't care about the dollar or yields until the Fed meeting, which will dictate that movement for the next 45, 50 days, in my opinion. So again, that's what I care about with the dollar and yields. Right now, the market doesn't care either. That's why I don't care. You're currently at a key level as well on the 30-year yield. If you get back above that, that could be interesting also, but I don't see that happening. Also, too, oil, energy, I am keeping an eye on this. You have been in an overall downtrend. You can still see what's kind of taking place there. You're trying to mount that right now. But what I will say, what's really interesting is you're grinding above your 200 weekly SMA and you're below the 200 daily. The last time you bounced on oil was when you had the same type of behavior going back here. So very interesting. Keep an eye on that over the next few weeks as well. VIX back down at basically lows, 12.5. Again, very important. Now, before we step any further, let's look at some data here for some of these earnings. Now, what have we known? Okay, what have we known? And I told you about this yesterday that this can be a little bit deceiving. When you look at some of the data here, Netflix is one of the ones you have to watch out for. Okay, so when you look at short-term data, like the 3 days prior to earnings, this is one of our sponsors of the channel, Edgeful, where you can just look at large prints of data. They do all the work for you. So this is going over earnings performance, 3 days prior, the day of earnings, and 3 days after. Okay, you typically have your best move on Netflix pre, earnings usually go down and they drop down. But what I told you about this was the past year to 2 years has been deceiving. Netflix earnings and Netflix as a company has turned completely around since, halfway through last year. Now, we also know Netflix generally, even if they have bad earnings, the next 15 days are some of the most bullish, right? We usually know that as well. You get strong bounces and it starts the overall trend. Again, going over Netflix, again, this data really paints this picture because, again, you may get an initial move up and then a lot of sideways action, and then you start to rally. Again, here, you get an initial move down, initial move, you get some downside there, but initially 15 days after that, you're pushing back up. And this is where it really gets really interesting back in April of this past year to where everything started. No reaction, sideways, and then an explosion. So again, this data really paints a good picture there. But what I wanted to cover most of all was going to something like Tesla. So when we go to Tesla, again, I think this data paints a very good picture. So 15 to 10, 5, 3. Generally, Tesla's earnings are lackluster. You see little to no movement. You see a pretty big expected move, and nothing generally happens. The last earnings, you did fall off a cliff because they said some bad stuff. But you can see overall, you don't look good on earnings. I don't care about Tesla earnings, and I highly doubt that this earnings is going to be what turns the page on Tesla stock in the short term. So I do want that to be really clear. I also do want to point out, we talked about volume yesterday. I go over to Yahoo Finance, show you the volume real quick. Volume today was very, very, very low. Okay. And I waited a little bit to make this video so I could show you, but Jay called this out. This was your lowest volume day so far on SPY, going all the way back to November 24th. And that was a half day. Okay. That was mid, this is right here is mid Thanksgiving week, and you had better volume. So again, your volume today was very, very, very low. A lot of anticipation, in my opinion, for these earnings. So the fact that Netflix beat the way it did is very good, in my opinion. We need to see more of this to get this continuation, but the market likes it as well. It bumped up like 60 points right as those earnings were released. So definitely important to be taking that all in. So I do want to say this, okay? I personally don't like to play earnings. I don't like it. It's a lot of risk. I like to play stocks into earnings typically. But when we're looking at these, again, I can't say this enough because a lot of people are harping on the dollar. And I get it. The dollar is important. Yields are important. I understand. But you can't ignore what the market is telling you right now. You were being affected a lot by the dollar and yields in the beginning of the year. Since then, you've seen an overall kind of separation, right? And you're really just waiting for the Fed statements. The Fed has already said over the past few weeks, days, give or take, whatever you want to consider it, that they still see a soft landing. They still see everything going according to plan. They don't mind the slowdown on inflation. They've kind of soothed everyone's worries. Now, the dollar is moving a lot based on BRICS and everything that happened there. So there's a little bit of disconnect. Now, what will be important, again, I can say this only so many times, the FOMC meeting, which is next Wednesday. That's going to be very, very key on top of all these other earnings. So in the short term, what you're looking for, PCE data potentially, I need to see exactly what data it is, but you need to also be paying attention to all the earnings that are coming out. Because again, if these companies continue to show that consumers are strong, it's going to further the Fed statement. Okay, they're going to say the economy is robust, it's strong, there's no slowdown, which is what has carried this market into right now. So these are things you have to be tracking and paying attention to. Now, I don't see Tesla earnings beating or anything along those lines. But I'm going to tell you right now, Tesla's not that big, and I don't think it's going to impact the entire market because Tesla hasn't done anything over the past year. But what I will say is you have Intel reporting very soon. I think they report on Thursday. You have IBM. These are big names. Intel could get things started for semiconductors. Semiconductors are already flying. So it's, again, very important that we're taking the data that we have at our disposal and using it to the best of our ability. So I don't plan on keeping you too much longer, but let's go over some of these equities that we're liking. Now, this was really ugly, but I had to draw this really quick for Discord earlier. Meta making higher lows continually. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you guys, this is my favorite stock. Right now, Meta is my favorite stock. The last one was Apple. Before that, I think it was Netflix, maybe. Then it was AVGO, NVIDIA, laundry list of names. But let me tell you, when I say I'm excited, I am excited. If Meta can break out, and it looks good, you finally got to close back above 384. If you get above, I mean, you're just looking, you got to get above 390, obviously, you're at all-time highs. But I am telling you, this could run prior to earnings. And if you go long before earnings, you're pretty protected with IV crush and things along those lines. Now, best case scenario, you get some longs in, you're able to take profits on most of those and leave a runner for post earnings. I think Meta could destroy on earnings. They've already said that they're pushing towards AI. They've made a big order on NVIDIA GPUs. They're going pretty heavy into this. On top of what Apple is doing with the Vision Pro, I'm telling you, I'm very bullish on Meta. So again, you would like to see the break, retest, and continuation. But again, right now, I think Meta is one of the most explosive names and could easily surpass 400 very, very soon. Number 2, Microsoft. Shout out to Jay Ream. Discord absolutely smashed this one. He's been calling this one out for a minute as well. He mentioned it right here. He's watching Microsoft to mount 398 to trade into all-time highs. Absolute monster. End of the day, you mount. You're pushing into 400 here in the after hours. Again, we said this. If Netflix beats, it starts getting things going, you're going to see it flow into the rest of the market. Very good overall. NVIDIA. On the day, I mean, dude, Jesus Christ. You look at like the 2 hour, the 4 hour, it doesn't really matter. You're bull flagging here. You're mounting previous highs. You're very strong. NVIDIA, you want to see a mount above 600 for confirmation, but this could happen very, very soon as well. Tesla, earnings are tomorrow. Don't really care, to be honest. But again, Tesla, I'm very bearish on it. But let's say hypothetically Tesla has good earnings and I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong, right? You have every opportunity to go long here on Tesla. Again, if you break and hold every time you break the 200 SMA, you usually come back down into every single time you have, okay? The most volatile moves come off the retest of the 200 weekly SMA, okay? So I have no doubt in my mind I'll get an opportunity. But yeah, if you get back below the 200 SMA on the weekly, it's a long. But until then, not touching it. AMD, again, for everyone interested in AMD, very easy to watch here. You're looking for a mount of this level right here, 168.5. This is when you broke previous all-time highs and you've been trading in this zone now. While you're trading in this zone, listen close, in between 168.5 and 164.5, this is a no trade zone. If you get above this and you hold, it's a long, in my opinion, at all-time highs. That's how I view it. Snow, finally doing what it needed to do. You're breaking right now the key level. You're trying to get a slingshot out of this. I've been talking a lot about cloud names. I think that you could see a resurgence here and you could see an explosion in cloud. I like CRM if it mounts the key level of 284. I like CrowdStrike if it mounts previous highs here. This is all-time highs, and you're currently basically just flagging here at all-time highs. Again, you're seeing this across the board. Very bullish behavior, right? I don't know what else to say. Apple, very strong. I love what Apple's doing. They are now having a Vision Pro event, I believe, on Friday. I could care less about that, not going to lie. But what I could care about is what's happening here. Now, I called this out for Discord earlier today. An ascending triangle here in the 2 hour chart, clear flat top near 195. Target 196. This is for scalping, day trading, and then into 197. In all actuality, when you break this, I do believe you can start pushing into all-time highs prior to earnings, especially if the rest of these stocks continue to perform so great. Again, Boeing. A few days ago, I called for the potential double top that would form here. It's happened. In my opinion, Boeing is a great short to hedge your positions. Let's say I want to go long on Meta. I want to go long on Microsoft. Well, I think it's safe to go long on those names, to go short on overall Boeing or even Tesla. That's personally what I've been doing and kind of how I've been protecting myself on this market. You're rejecting at the 200 daily SMA and you're pushing back down. You're looking for the 200 weekly. If you break that, it's going to get destroyed. United Airlines also announced, again, United Airlines, BA News, again, 5-second search for yourself just to let you know. So right here, Boeing may lose United as a max customer. United came on and said they're developing a whole new fleet outside of the Boeing planes. That is a concern. That is very bearish. Other airline companies may follow. That's how I'm attacking this one. Those are my favorite names. That's how I'm viewing the market. Now, as always, you need to be doing your own research. Nothing I'm saying here is financial advice. Again, at the end of the day, I can only say it so many times. You guys are responsible for your trading. You guys are responsible for, you know, being right or being wrong. So many times I see people come in here and they're mad, they're this or that. At the end of the day, it comes down to not having a trade plan. Every trade that you're looking to get into, you need to have a plan, how you're getting in, how you're getting out, where your stops are, where it's invalidated, everything in between. That's the biggest thing I can hammer home right now. Be patient, have a plan, and execute the plan. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm attacking this market. If you have questions, comment down below. I'll see you tomorrow.